Mission San Francisco de la Espada and San Juan Capistrano may be the smallest and most southern of all the city's 5 missions, but it is their creation that helped to support life within present-day San Antonio. The locations of both missions were selected by the Spanish because of the excellent supply of clean water from the San Antonio River. The resulting water management systems, constructed through the partnership of Spanish missionaries and the indigenous population, became an essential aspect which led to the mission's survival and the current unique mix of culture we see today in San Antonio. Mission San Francisco de la Espada was established in East Texas in the early 18th century. The mission's current location in San Antonio was established on March 5, 1731, leading to the construction of the one-story church, indigenous living quarters, and perimeter walls. Daily life within Mission Espada included farming the 98.8-acre Rancho de las Cabras, located 23 miles south of the mission, as well as the production of bricks and tiles. Mission San Juan Capistrano, much like Mission Espada, moved to its current location in 1731. The mission's property contains a church, indigenous living quarters, a perimeter wall, a granary, and textile shops. Large labores surrounded the mission included crops such as corn, beans, chilies, melons, cotton, sugar, and squash. In order for these missions to succeed as independent agricultural communities, the construction of water management systems was a necessity. Mission San Juan Capistrano and San Francisco de la Espada have the best preserved examples of the aqueduct and acequia water system in North America. These systems were the foundation of mission life. The word acequia derives from the Arabic word asakia, a term for Moorish irrigation techniques based on systems established by ancient societies. These systems were brought to Mexico by Spain, so the next logical step in this colonial process of present-day San Antonio was to utilize the San Antonio River Basin to introduce agricultural settlements to the indigenous hunter-gatherer populations. The acequias were successful due to their gently southward slopes along the river basin to the missions. This ensured that the flow of water was not only gradual enough to prevent flooding of fields, but also steady enough to keep the water flowing through the system. In 1745, builders at the Mission Espada acequias constructed an aqueduct to carry the water over this 6-mile creek. It was built of local stones laid in lime mortar. In order to maintain the structure, it is drained every 3 years for masonry preservation and cleaning. The U.S. Department of the Interior registered the Espada Aqueduct as a National Historic Landmark in 1965 due to it being the singular surviving colonial aqueduct in North America. The Mission Espada acequia, dam, and aqueduct systems are still a functioning part of the mission today and have continuously functioned for more than 265 years, making it the oldest continuously operating irrigation system in North America. They illustrate an important interchange between indigenous peoples and colonial-era missionaries. This contributed to a fundamental and permanent change in the culture and values of all involved. Each mission's cultural and physical landscape is characterized by the presence of farms, also known as labores. Farming during the mission period existed as a feat of engineering developed and executed through the collaboration between the Spanish missionaries and the indigenous peoples. Just as the acequias are positioned to regulate the water flow, farming within the labores also requires strategic positioning in the suertes, or farm plots. This method of water management allows for the missions to maintain their water sources for irrigation regardless of the weather. Irrigation in the farmland starts with the water flow in the acequia being cut off, resulting in a rising water level at the junction point. A side gate is then opened for the water to flow into the suerte around mounds or rows, which were once cultivated with crops that included corn, beans, and squash. Excess water was allowed to run off into the surrounding areas while the acequias continued past the labores to return to the river. By 1772, it was reported that the mission inhabitants had become so skilled in water management that they were able to irrigate the fields without Spanish aid. In modern times, many of the families that operated the labores continue to live within the mission's cultural landscape. Today, these same farmlands still function and are operated through the cooperation of the National Park Service and the San Antonio Food Bank, making this method of farming the oldest operating irrigation system in North America. This water management infrastructure is at the center of the San Antonio Mission's outstanding universal value. UNESCO's official inscription places the water distribution systems on equal footing with the architecture and decorative elements of the 5 mission churches. The acequias were fundamental to the survival of all of these missions, from the beginning of the mission period through the completion of secularization in the 1820s. Some of these acequias remain active today, flowing through land still owned by some of the original mission families. The mission reach of the San Antonio River Walk guides locals and tourists alike along the river banks of the San Antonio River, past acequia entrances both living and historic. Yet these water features are also significant beyond the simple if remarkable fact that they continue to flow. The San Juan acequia serves as farmland for the San Antonio Food Bank, supplying fresh produce to over 500 partner organizations across the region. 5 acres of this land is farmed according to the historic methods that would have been used at San Juan Mission in the 18th century. One cannot understate the heritage value of this original technology, pioneered by the Spanish and indigenous mission inhabitants nearly 300 years ago. Cultural heritage sites that deal with environmental management can be seen as models for the future, examples of historic technology that remain relevant and adaptable for use in a modern world. Finally, these acequias are also universally significant for the diversity inherent in the cultural interchange they represent. The development of acequia irrigation technology dates back centuries, from at least the ancient Roman period through the innovations of Islamic North Africa and Renaissance Spain. This technology was then adopted to the landscape of South Texas by the Spanish priests who found the missions and the indigenous communities and others who built and maintained the acequias. The longevity of these water management features is a testament to the effectiveness of this technology, but it is also a powerful symbol of the diversity and cultural interchange that has defined the landscape of Texas throughout its history.